Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fire Emblem Draft Race Relay Recap. We're going to talk about Rev today, and usually I did these recaps on my own, which made them a lot more work than I felt like doing when I'm preparing for our next race. So today I have some people with me to help me out, my fellow competitors. First of all, representing Tonic Drinkers Anonymous, Original Raisins. How are you doing today?
Doing quite well, thank you very much. Yeah, good to be on the show.
Welcome in. And representing Mr. 95, the other team, is Joshua Dragonpillow. How's it going?
It's going.
It's great. I knew that was coming
Yeah.
and going. Okay, so in the background, you'll see the VOD of all three perspectives that Gine has recorded and commentated. I recommend you watch it if you haven't already. It provides a lot of context, and we will not be able to discuss every single chapter, every single unit, every single thing we're doing here, but it shows a couple of things that will make it the most sense to recounts and the parts where the most time was gained / lost. But if you haven't watched the race at all, if you don't know the ending of it, I do recommend you watch it back because it was an event alright. Before we get into the details, I should lay out the important rules because I mean they provide a lot of context. So I got the rules right here, and you can read them all for yourself if you want to. We'll just highlight the most important ones. Playing on normal mode, normal, classic, often the case for draft races. You'd think it's very easy, but actually it's very hard to find the fastest possible times with every single unit you could possibly pick, with every possible strategy. So that's why we do that. No branch of fate is allowed. That would allow us to start at chapter 6 instead of chapter prologue. And actually, Raisins, I didn't pitch this to you beforehand, but you had a very particular reason for advocating for no branch of fate, right?
Yeah, the main reason is I just wanted the format to be very accessible to anybody who was watching or to anybody who was interested. I wanted there to basically be as few steps as possible required in case someone was watching and said, oh, I want to try this. If they have Revelation, they can just boot it up and instantly go. I think prior to this, the suggestion was to start from a Branch of Fate file, and it was actually like a shared Branch of Fate file. Like it was shared in the Discord. Someone uploaded it, then you have to download it onto your PC and load it into your emulator and all this. And I said I would just want to skip that step altogether in case someone wants to go. That step felt like a little bit gatekeepy or cumbersome. And so I said, let's just all play from prologue because anybody can do that and anybody can understand that. There's nothing to explain. There's nothing extra to give to the audience.
Yeah, and this way you can set up those chapters in a way that better aligns with your goals for the playthrough, especially if you have a unit that you draft that exists in the Branch of Fate. And it turned out to actually matter quite a bit that Branch of Fate was played on stream instead of played in advance and saved and distributed as a save file. Couple units are free to give yourself some time to draft units until they join. Corrin is of course free for a limited amount of time until the end of chapter 10 right now. And then he is banned except for like using as a pair up, like any unit. Well, not any unit. You can use him as a pair up. He can't reclass out of nor Noble or Hoshido. And it used to be that you were actually allowed to use Corrin for the entirety of the game if you wanted to. The assumption was that it was just not good enough as a nor Noble or Hoshido to keep up with the better carries. And then Raisin said, no, that is good enough. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I did a run at some point in like January or February of this year with just the free units actually. So the free units at the time were, Corrin, Gunter, Azura, and then as well as anybody who joins on the map. So in like this chapter, I think like Reyna is doing a couple things as well because she was free. And to be honest, this is like actually something I was going to do anyway. I did have an agenda at this point where I said I do want Corrin banned and I do want us to like use actual drafted units as opposed to the free lords. But this is something that I just typically do anyway with draft race practices, is that I just kind of go through the game without worrying about my team or my carry or anything. I just kind of use very simple units and very simple strategies, mostly to figure out like what are the hard maps going to be? What do I think is going to be like the challenging part of this run? It's just a very helpful step in my learning process. So probably I was going to do this Corrin thing or something similar to it anyway. But what ended up happening is I got good enough times with Corrin that everyone was convinced, oh yeah, Corrin needs to be banned completely. We should not be allowing this unit to do combat or whatever, because you actually can just win the entire game with Corrin in a pretty respectable time. And we don't want to do that in draft race. We want to use drafted units. So At the end of this run, I think it was like 131 or something was the time I got with Corrin, and everybody saw that and was like, this is way too fast. So Corrin and Gunter got like pretty quickly very heavily restricted.
Yeah, and wasn't that starting Branch of Fate as well? Or am I misremembering this?
This is starting from Chapter 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is starting from a Chapter 6 Branch of Fate file, and I apparently did an illegal skip there. All of the clips you found in my gameplay, by the way, I've had like the one illegal skip I made in the entire run, by the way. Like, also,
I just started the first chapter where he was banned at first. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
This time I was not trying to roast you. Yeah, but
all good.
Corrin's stats was just like so good. So he was banned starting with the chapter you just saw here, chapter 11. Before that, you could still use him because this is roughly the portion of Rev where I think like maybe 60% of the cast joins. I think it's doing like a droves of 3 or 4 at the time, and that should be like if you have a carry that joins later, you can draft someone to make up for that gap. Is the idea, and that ended up happening. Other than that, after Corrin, there's a free Azora, as you already kind of mentioned. We didn't change a whole lot about that, except that she cannot reclass out of Songstress. I don't know the history behind this. I'm assuming, Josh, that this was because she was actually viable as a non-Songstress for some things.
Yeah. Okay, so this is an old strat from when we used to do Shigure carry, which is no longer a thing. But what we would do is that we would reclass Azura into Wyvern Lord because it gives you an A support plus move pair up, which is extremely powerful on chapter 25.
And also for the para bonuses, not the stats on the map, right?
No, yeah, it's for the para bonuses.
Gotcha.
Because Azura gives speed, which Shigure wants because the speed is somewhat lacking, and the Wyvern Lord transition gives you strength, gives you move, gives you defense. All things that you always want on any unit that's going to be in Dreadfighter, which Shigure was.
Oh, I didn't know it was just that. I thought it was like a whole Azura carry / secondary thing. That's funny.
No, her defense is like 7.
Ripped.
I think I was the one who came up with this rule, and it was actually just say like, I'm pretty sure Azura carry can't be a thing, but like just in case, let me just like write this, you know? Like I just didn't. I didn't want that to be what Azura was used for, basically. I thought it was just far more interesting if she was the dancer and if everyone who wasn't a dancer was going to be drafted. So I think, like, Joshua, you're right. There's like Azura carry just completely sucks, and it probably would never happen. But I was like, just in case I'm wrong, let me just write this rule in, and I don't think it's like very hard. I don't think it's very hard to understand. So sure.
Okay. Keeping it brief for the other ones because I promised we would be brief on the rule, and then I just broke the own rule by asking about stuff I was curious about. But Gunter is free until the end of chapter 13, then banned permanently, cannot be deployed, and you can kill him if you want to in chapter 26. That is allowed. And then Ryoma is free on chapter 16, and Takumi is free in the prologue. And then we need to get into the path bonuses, which are 2 Dread Scrolls, 2 8-1 Wings, 2 Dragon Herbs, and 2 Boots. They have the potential to make any unit just really, really strong. The Dreadfighter and the Dark Falcon classes are not classes I had any experience with before this draft race, but I put their bases on the screen and their skills on the screen. You two can't see it, but basically Dark Falcon is probably in a vacuum one of the most powerful classes, if not the most powerful class in the series, because it combines all the things that make for a good unit in a draft race. They have 1-2 range, they have a high magic stat, they fly, and they also have the potential to get Gale Force for extra turns everywhere. Now, Gale Force is not as strong in this game as it is in Awakening, in the sense that it doesn't happen whenever you get a kill, but only if you get a kill on player phase and when you're unpaired. But it turns out that is still quite powerful, as we'll get into later. But just in general, Magic, pretty good. Josh might disagree with me on this, but Magic is pretty good. You got good options like Horse Spirit, Calamity Gate, Lightning or Snake Spirit for if you want to quad something, like get a boss kill. And also the classes, I believe, have like promoted-ish bases, so maybe you have access to them whenever you want. Like you don't have to be promoted to get into a promoted class in this case. So it's really good for carries, it's good for flunkies. Did I miss anything about Dark Falcon, guys?
Did you mention it had 10 move?
I mean, it has 8,
well,
but yeah, with 2 boots, you have
then,
10, and then if you move pair up, you have 11. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think you mentioned the 2 boots as part of the path bonuses, right? So you do just get the 2 boots for free as well, in addition to the dragon herbs and the promotion items. And you get 2 copies of each of the promotion items, by the way.
Yes. And Dread Fighter is, I would say, less powerful overall, but it's still like really insane. It's probably the best physical variant of any units if they're not like mounted or somehow have flying and good 1-2 range. But I don't think that really exists, like physical unit with good 1-2 range while flying. I don't think we have that, right?
No.
Yeah, like there's not anything that like equips like shurikens or 1-2 range bows and also flies.
Yeah. So what you have to deal with is just either you're flying or you're on foot. And if you're on foot, then you get 1-2 range that can double and kill on like javelins or hand axes. And yeah, it turns out Dread Fighter is pretty good for that. You get shurikens, you get a bunch of really good skills. Even Keel and Iron Will are both skills that increase your res effectively by 4 under different circumstances. Clarity removes debuffs, which is kind of whatever. But Aggressor is the big one for us. It just straight up gives you, I think it's +8 attack if you're attacking on player phase. So it's like Death Blow in 3 houses, kind of, but with more
7
power.
It's
Might
7.
be right. Might be right. Yeah.
Big number.
But the
Big
point
number.
is,
Big number. Yeah. Go ahead.
no, just the point for Aggressor is, it basically lets you kill anything on player phase,
Yeah, but
which
for,
is important.
yeah, it's mostly bosses that have high benchmarks. Most of the enemies on Rev normal mode tend to just kind of fold over anyway, regardless of whether it's player phase or enemy phase. But if there's something tough, then chances are Aggressor will make the difference in killing it or not killing it, which is insane. And then again, just good stats in general. The only drawback is you can't fly and you have 6 move, but boots make that 8, so it's still pretty fast to go through a map as a Dread Fighter if you have to.
And again, of note, I don't know if this is reinforced, but these items can be used on anybody, right, at any time. So unlike, usually in Fates where you kind of have to worry about like, what classes does this unit have, or if they need another class, how do I get them like married or befriended to somebody who does? You just have these items and you can give them to whatever unit needs that class at that time. So in that sense, it's very universally applicable, and you don't typically have to worry too much about the marriage or the class sets available to a unit. There will be a couple times where that does matter, but 4 times fewer in the run you have to worry about the class sets because you just have access to these items basically.
Yeah. I remember there was some carries where I was like kind of running out of them because I wanted to use them more than I had them, and there's some times where like I would have to consciously use a heart seal when I could use one of these items, just not run out. They're that good. Then there's the Paralogue Rule, which I should know.
Control F Paralogue?
Yeah,
I do the same thing too. I don't know where I put this.
Good call.
Okay, found it.
Yes. All right. So the exact way it's worded in the rules, which is probably the way I should read it out, is all players must complete at least 1 Paralogue that recruits a Paralogue unit, and that Paralogue unit must be in the party upon completion of the Paralogue. This might sound like it's worded exactly for a reason, and it is. Basically, the idea is you have to play a Paralogue, and you have to make sure that the kid like survives. Like they can't just die. So if you're doing like Shiro or Mozu or some other character that can die, you have to actually go through the trouble of saving them, which I guess is intended to engage with the chapter a bit more. But it spices up the playthrough because it either forces you to do a pairing or do the Mozu Paralogue. It's kind of like in the Awakening draft race, if you've seen that. It just makes the game more interesting, a little bit longer, and adds a little bit of depth to the draft, and actually it ended up being a really big impact. Do you guys know if this rule was always there or not?
It was.
All right. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think this was a rule for Awakening originally, which I think the people who made the Awakening draft were like, the whole marriage mechanic and the child units is just like fun, and so why don't we do this because it's fun and because we like Awakening, which I totally agree with, by the way. I think if we're going to have a competition, then we ought to do things in the game that like highlight the things we like about it, and this is very similar to it.
Yes.
So we do a Paralogue. You kind of like get a kid deposited into your army at some point, and oftentimes those units end up being pretty useful as well. Like this rule is actually quite consequential.
Yes, we'll see that as we go over the draft, which I guess this is as good a time as any because I think most of the important rules are covered at this point. There's some details, but we could probably cover the details as we go. So why don't we take a look at the draft? So this is the final draft that we ended up with. 95 got the pick first, so that's Joshua's team. Then we got second pick as Team to Do, and then the Tonic Drinkers had the third pick here. You can see there's a row here for the children because the children are drafted along with their parents. So if you pick Jacob, then you get what's his name, Dwyer, for free, and that's why there's an extra row there. And then the free units are here at the bottom. I can't see it in the video, but whatever. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. I have a cursor now. There you go. Okay. So what I thought we would do is kind of what we did after the race is go over our teams and drafting order and kind of our strategy. I do want to go in depth on the individual chapters that are very interesting later. So if we're talking about, like, say, we did this because chapter 10 or we did this because chapter 14, trust me, we'll elaborate on that later. But for now, just kind of a global overview of how it went, because I know we all had vastly different priorities and things that we wanted to pick here. So yeah, I'd like to ask Josh if he wants to explain roughly the first, like, I don't know, maybe 3 picks makes the most sense to do first, and the rest is kind of lightning round probably.
Okay. So Jacob does everything.
I knew this was coming. Yeah. Turns out he does.
Yeah. So Jacob is not a magic unit. Because of that, he has to be in Dread Fighter for 95% of the game. He marries to Corin with a ninja talent in order to gain him access to 3 very important skills. Those are Lock Touch, which you need for chapter 24, Shuriken Fair for +5 damage, and Replicate, so we can have 2 Jacobs. And he kills everything because his stats are really good.
Yeah. And he's also the Paralogue unit, right? That's the thing.
That's right. That's right. He's also the Paralogue unit requirement. He gives you access to Dwyer. Since he has to marry for his route anyway, there's like no issue getting Dwyer on time, because you can recruit. You can get Dwyer whenever you want, basically. Whatever's most convenient for your EXP pathing. So long as you get Replicate before 25. You can use Dwyer's Paralogue, because you fight the boss, and that boss gives like 90 EXP. That's pretty good.
And it's a short Paralogue.
That's pretty much it for Jacob.
Yeah, because that's the other thing with Dwyer Paralogue, right? It's so short. You one turn it.
Yeah,
you just kill the boss.
It's one combat.
Yeah,
it's one combat. You don't even have to open the gate. If you wait until after the boss is promoted, he'll run at you and attack you through the wall. It's very funny.
It's very funny. There's a couple of other Paralogues that are like kill boss and can be done very fast, like Shigure, but this is just such a good combination of easy to set up and easy to execute, and just everything. Like you say, he does everything. He
does do everything. He's even his own secondary because of Replicate.
Yeah, he supports himself in a way. All right, and then you picked Camilla as a secondary, I guess?
Camilla we can talk about in more detail when we talk about chapter 14.
Mm-hmm. That is fair.
Ryoma we could talk about in more detail. We talk about chapter 18.
Is that all your picks basically?
Yeah. Every other pick is we could talk about this unit when we talk about their chapter.
You know, I don't mind. That's a good approach. I'll try to follow the same example. So our carry was Hayato. We got second pick, which is all that awkward in between thing where you don't likely get what you want first. But actually, we completed Misc Jacob on our radar as a first round pick. We knew he was really good, and there were compositions where we wanted him, mostly Xander. But we were most comfortable with Hayato carry. We got roughly the same time with all the other options we had, which were Xander and Camilla. And so we went with Hayato just to make it easy on people when what they're comfortable with. And I mean, he goes Dark Falcon. He also does almost everything. He's not 2 units like Jacob is. But he is a Paralogue unit. He comes with Raut Paralogue, which is not nearly as fast as the Dwyer Paralogue, but it was still faster for us than Mozu. We'll get into how accurate this is in a moment, but we got a faster time on Raut than on Mozu. That was like our baseline for how fast the Paralogue should be to be considered. And then Raut is also helpful for a boss kill later on. And I mean, he flies around and he kills stuff, and all he needs from there are like flunky duties, which again probably best to elaborate on when we're actually reviewing chapters. But you'll see like a lot of ingredients here that Josh's team also picked, like a unit with Lock Touch. Well, actually, no, I'm wrong, but we had to have a unit with Lock Touch in Shura. We need a unit that can use Dragon Veins and fly in Hinoka, and the rest is all like pretty individual stuff that we didn't need a whole lot of. So just they'll appear like 1 chapter max, and that's it. What about you, Raisins? What about the first pick, Mozu and Sakura?
Yeah. So One quick detail, by the way, in case you've like literally never seen a draft, is we pick in what's called like snake order.
Yeah.
So 95 picked, and then Dedu picked, and then I picked 2 units, right? And we kind of like wrap around in something kind of like a big snake. So the units like Mozu Sakura, and then Oboro Kaze, and then Selena Takumi, those are picked in a pair. You can basically put like a parentheses around them. It's not like one of them is more important than the other. It's just the order in which I said the names when I was able to pick 2 units in each time, by the way.
It is funnier to pick Mozu first, to be fair.
That is true. Yeah. I wanted to pick it for maximum comedy value. Yeah. Mozu here is the Paralogue unit. I timed a few of the Paralogues. There were a bunch that I just like wrote off, including the Rajat Paralogue, probably wrongly. But I remember figuring out Mozu's was like basically the second fastest Paralogue. I understand like Shigure's on paper looks faster, but getting Azura married is just like such a pain in the butt that I decided I didn't want to do it.
Same.
Yeah, it's actually really hard to get that unit married, I found. And so for Mozu, you just get it instantly. There's no work required to unlock it. And then I get through the thing in about like 2 minutes or so. So I said, intrinsically, this Paralogue is very good because it's quick. And then the extrinsic benefit to this Paralogue, the kind of like extra thing that I get, is I use this very easy map to get the C support between Corrin and Sakura. And then Sakura is here like in my army very early. She has supported for the +2 attack and +10 hit, or however much it is. And she uses that to deal with her very early chapters very quickly, in particular the Fuga map, which has sort of like very high accuracy benchmarks. And then Sakura was the carry. So Sakura, very similar to Hayato, is just kind of like a very honest mage unit with good stats all around. And that's very good when you can put them in a flying class with 1-2 range, because if they have good bulk and good offenses, they can just kill everything. It helps that she has Royal Blood as well, so she doesn't need someone tailing behind her to activate the Dragonbanes all the time, or she doesn't need to switch to Corrin in order to activate the Dragonbanes as frequently, so she can kind of like save a lot of time there. In my practice runs, I identified Sakura as the best carry for my strats. At least I got my personal best time with Sakura. So I was very pleased with this team, that I got like basically exactly what I wanted to draft. And the personal best time I did was with doing the Mozu Paralogue. The other units were Oboro was my Chapter 14 secondary. Kaze was a plus move and lock touch unit. That's something that I just had in every single team. Lock touch, as mentioned before, is important for Chapter 24. But also I just wanted a unit who could like provide that and also give a plus move pair up very easily. And Selena was a tertiary for Chapter 14. I involved 3 units in that. Takumi was just able to fly and have Royal Blood, same as Mecha, what you picked with Hinoka. And then the other 2 units were kind of like irrelevant.
It's fair enough. You'll notice that Kana is one of the units drafted. That's because Kana and Shigure were separately drafted because they do not come with their parents, since those are in the free units departments. Okay, in that case, now we have our draft to deal with. I guess we can get to the real fun part, which is the individual chapters. So I have a couple chapters on the agenda to take a quick look at in the VOD. Not every team is at the same map at the same time, but I have a couple timestamps where the teams get to every map. I think we can start with a very revelation map, which is a snow map, just really briefly, because I'm curious what your guys' thoughts were going into them, or rather, what you wanted to get out of that map, because you got to uncover like a path to the boss in that map, but also along the way are a bunch of stat boosters you can get. You can see that tonic drinkers in the upper right are clearing the snow right now. So, Raisins, what did you want out of the snow map?
So for pretty much all of our routes, we concluded that we wanted the Speedwing, Spirit Dust, and Seraph Robe from the bottom left, which is what we're getting at right now as well. So yeah, to quickly like state this map, the optimal path through fights like 5 enemies total, including the boss. If you want to fight that few enemies, you totally can. And then each stat booster that you want to pick up is basically like an extra +1 ice break animation and an extra +1 combat. That said, we concluded pretty early on that the Spirit Dust and the Speedwing were pretty needed for a lot of the late game benchmarks in particular. Like late game rev enemies end up with actually quite a lot of bulk, and it helps to just be able to secure that benchmark from a long distance away. And then since we're here, we said we'll get the Seraph Robe anyway, because it's +5 HP, and that helps to like not die on the 3 or 4 chapters where you're like really at risk of dying. a couple teams would, I think, like right now, we're literally watching Sakura go to the northwest. A couple teams would go to the northeast and also get the concoction and arm scroll. That was if they literally had need for an arm scroll.
Mm-hmm.
And since you're there, like, might as well get the concoction anyway, because the concoction is actually just kind of a good item. I typically was buying them during the run anyway.
Yeah, we never got the concoction, but we did have a route to get the arm scroll without triggering any of the other enemies. Just in general, we try to, if we could replace a combat with a snow animation, we'd do so, but I'm actually not sure that's correct. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I mean, combat is like maybe 2 or 3 times the length of a snow animation. It kind of like depends on someone gets one shot. I never really thought of it like that, though. It's kind of, you know, once I found a path to break the ice to get through and skip the combats, then that's what we did.
That makes sense.
You know, another one is there's like a 5k gold cav up in the top left. That's about worth like half a stat boost of your choice, and on many routes I evaluated that to be not worth. On specifically the Camilla route, I just evaluated that I did need that money, so I would kill the Cavalier and one of the mages.
I'm gonna see if I can find. I think I found it. Yeah, there we go. There's the one for 95 in the bottom left. So Spam, did you guys go for anything different, or Josh? Excuse me.
So in the ideal world, we would have gotten 0 stat boosters whatsoever. Unfortunately, this Jacob was 4 behind on strength at this point.
His average.
So we determined that getting the energy drop was necessary, which is what we're doing right now on screen. Actually, on the next turn, you'll see it.
Are you going up towards it? Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So if you want to get more stat boosters, which is what we were going to do for our backup carry, Kaze, you actually go around the right side and you get all the stat boosters up there.
Yeah, like the far right, like the right wall.
Yeah, the right wall.
Yeah, that's what we did for physical carries to get like Talisman plus energy drop. We stopped there, though.
Yeah,
That's all we got.
But I also was picking up the Draco Shield and the Goddess Icon.
Okay.
Which are all up there because they're all right there, and I'm like, I might as well. Then we also pick up the 5k gold, which I determined would be necessary because I had a feeling I was going to need it for an energy drop later, which was actually the case. So
makes sense.
That's why.
That is literally all we can get out of the snow chapter, though. Like, to be fair, this is not the most interesting one, and a lot of maps in Rev are like this, where there's not many decisions to make as like what's the best way to clear it. This is just a map where you basically have a bunch of treasure chests you can open that cost a bit of time, and you just have to make a choice on whether that is worth it or not.
What did you get, Mecha?
Oh, that's a good question. For Hayato, we just did Spirit Dust, I think, and everything else was just like optimizing for minimal snowbreak animations / combat animations. I'm trying to remember. For like physical carries, you would go and get your energy drop and the talisman, as I said earlier. And for Camilla, we got the arm scroll so that she could get Iron Shuriken and Sting Shuriken right as she go into the Dread Fighter in Chapter 18.
Oh, I guess I should mention that in the event that my team did not get Camilla, we were going to need that arm scroll, actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what for?
Well, I mean, somebody's got to use the Beast Killer.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Okay.
Which we'll get to that in the next map we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, 14. Okay, so this is when 95, so Josh's team goes into Chapter 14, which is a route map. Couple boats in the dock. It's Chapter 10 Conquest, but boring, basically. But this is where I think a big difference emerges, or a bigger difference emerges between our team to do and the other two teams, because you guys fielded more units to kill enemies faster, which in a route map sometimes is wrong and sometimes is right. In this case, I think it was definitely correct because you stopped fighting, you allowed yourself to skip some reinforcements, right?
That's correct. With this particular team configuration, we actually were able to dodge all the reinforcements.
So I remember we discussed this after the race. I remember Raisins said he had like 2 units specifically fielded to go different directions. Was that did that end up being the same division that you did, Josh? Like...
That's correct. So I guess, you know, Jacob's going to handle the right side. Camilla's going to go down and do the central zone. She's also going to hit the bottom left when she's done here. And then Reyna's going to kill 3 units on the left. Actually, 4 units. I think she fights that paladin as well.
Yeah, I remember that. I think the enemies usually move towards like the closest unit that they can attack in like X amount of turns. And so where you put your units is really important in determining where the enemies go as well.
That's right. There's a paladin on the bottom left and depending on where your units are positioned, it will change whether or not he goes up or to the right. And that depends on who you want to fight him. So if you want your tertiary to fight him, you're going to want your, which in my case, that tertiary unit was Reyna, then you're going to want to move them as far to the left as you can. But if you don't, you want to like not move them forward past the bridge. And that'll make the paladin always go to whoever your secondary was.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
We had a very interesting, very cool backup strat with Takumi that we didn't end up using because we got Camilla. But with Takumi, we would promo him to Kinshi, slap the arm scroll on him, and then he can use the Beast Killer. With a plus strength pair up, he can one round all the guys. Rinka was ours of choice because she also gives defense. And then what we would do, Jacob will eventually, and by eventually I mean at around turn 4, clear out the generals on the bottom boat. We would have Takumi go down there, swap Jacob to Takumi, and then fly across and have Jacob kill the other boat as well.
Oh, so from like going from Sinus to Charlotte, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. That is cool.
Now that strategy requires one more combat unit, because unfortunately Takumi is bad and we can't dodge the outlaws from turn 6. So I need a unit to kill the outlaw that spawns on the right side. But in general, if you have Camilla, she could just smoke everyone down here and is like completely safe, despite the fact that she faces like 3 archers.
I remember she's like Okoing with the hand axe when I tried her as a carry.
Yeah, she does.
And I think Tonics just got to this map as well. So, Raisins, was there any difference in your strategies compared to Josh's?
Aside from forgetting a Volm, which I've realized now, and then I like reset over.
Good demonstration of the fastest reset method though.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Use the bookmark. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, so our strategy was, again, very similarly to use 3 units. The kind of standard that I have when entering a turn-based route map like this is I have 3 things. So I want to one round every enemy that I fight, right? I don't want a unit to survive combat ever, under any circumstances. I want to get out before all the reinforcements, and I want to prioritize killing the enemies who move on their own, which on this map is like one of the generals, the paladin in the bottom left that Joshua mentioned earlier, and I think one of the fighters in the top left. And the fighter in the top left is the reason why I developed the tertiary, which is Selena. She's the one kind of going up to the top left right now. Actually, she's remaining in the top center of the map because of that paladin AI manip that Joshua mentioned, who I believe the paladin is going to move in like just a moment here. That guy's AI is like actually so obnoxious. Like you have to put, like literally if Selena were moving 1 tile left, even from that magnificent distance away, like the paladin would detect her and like change his trajectory. But because I left Selena exactly where she was, then the paladin goes like there towards Oboro. I can actually fight him now.
Because that's pretty important because that paladin is actually quite dangerous, right?
Yeah, he's like really beefy, and unpromoted Selena, can kill 2 fighters barely, but can't kill him, and Oboro does one round him. Also, he has the javelin. So I didn't really experiment too much with the carry movement here. Like what you see Sakura doing is basically what I had every single one of my carries doing. Like just going to the top right and then this tile and then, kill the outlaw, kill a general, kill Silas, kill Charlotte. That's basically what they did over the course of the 6 turns in order to get out before the outlaws.
And you fight an outlaw in enemy phase. Was the guard gauge like premeditated, or was that just I survived that anyway?
It's gonna actually be like pretty unpredictable where your guard gauge is at the point of this one. It's like, do you one round the generals? And at this point, Sakura's earned like 18 levels or something, so it's really hard to predict that. You kind of have to play it by ear, and also that's like what the concoctions are for. I had put in the strat like 2 places where it is safe to use a concoction, and this turn where Sakura moved to the bottom right, that was actually one of them, but she was fine because she guard gauged. The next turn after this is the next time when it's safe for her to use a concoction. Yes. So I just had times baked in there, like here's when you can do it if you need to.
Yeah, and you have Selena take care of the top left with help of Elise, who's forced onto the map, but is not allowed to do combat, but is allowed to, how'd you put it again? Magically
she's
ends
allowed
up
to
above.
move wherever she wants, right?
Exactly.
She can move anywhere, right? Yeah. And there's always going to be 4 tiles where she's providing Lily's poise, right? So those can be anywhere too, right?
Yep.
it doesn't really matter, I guess. So, but Selena did actually need the help of the Lily's poise, like the +1 damage in order to kill the fighters. I think she needs it in order to live as well. I gave her like strength and speed tonic. She's actually like just barely at the benchmark. But she kills exactly those 2 units. So Boro kills these guys. As you can see, everybody's getting 1-routed, which is to my standard. And then over the course of the next 2 turns, I kind of like kill these 2 guys and I'm out of the chapter.
So do you expect the turn count is like 6 then, right?
Yes, and actually if you fail, then the outlaws do spawn, and it's actually like pretty disastrous. So, now, thankfully, there are like plenty of times to use concoction, and you do have to like do a little bit of guard gauge math here. Like you have to look at the guard gauge and figure out like, do you need to attack the mercenary, not attack the mercenary, do this or that. But it's pretty easy. Like she survives these combats, so we're totally fine, and we're out of here in 6 turns.
Yeah, I believe Fate's AI, if they can OHKO you, they will jump ahead in movement order, but other than that, they'll just move in a set order. So if you know you're getting OHKO'd, you can get your guard gauge up at the start of enemy phase and survive a lethal attack that way. Is that what you did there? Or is it just... I think it's not. I think it's not the case here, but I think it's the case in like another chapter at some point.
In another chapter, maybe I believe it. I remember that trick failing once in a chapter 19 practice, where a sniper like totally had lethal on me, but like moved after a whole bunch of other units. I don't fully understand that, but in any case, this one is more of does Sakura one-shot the outlaws? Because if she one-shots the outlaws, then you're not guaranteed to get a guard gauge against them. If you two-shot them, then you are guaranteed.
Right.
But in this one, you have to think, because she has enough magic that she's one-shotting outlaws.
Okay, so that's the math you had to do. Speaking of to do, let me briefly show our approach. I won't show the whole route map because it goes a bit slower than what the other teams are doing. It goes so slow that it loads. So we did not cleanly divide the chapter into sections that different units can do, unlike the other 2 teams, and that costs us a bit of time here. I mostly agree with Raisins' philosophy of I want to minimize the amount of combats I want to do, I want to minimize the amount of reinforcements I have to do, I don't want enemies to survive combat with me ever. But what we did not ascertain is that, we want to, if we can, we want to use the map we want to use 1 unit per map. We just want to move Sakura and no one else if we can. We'll move Elise and Arthur and FE if that's beneficial, but generally we don't want to move anyone else or deploy anyone else or manage anything else, do any tonics or anything. That was the starting point, and it's a good starting point for maps that are easy and straightforward because it lets you move 1 unit per turn and not worry about anything. It's usually very easy. You just have 1 action to do, your turn ends fast. The flip side is though that you fight more reinforcements this way, and we wrongly determined that fighting a bit more enemies, a couple more enemies, and having Arthur, Effie, and Elise just die to the enemies here was a better choice than deploying additional units like Keaton or Oboro or Takumi to act as flunkies, to act like as extra units that can kill extra enemies. We thought that was the wrong choice to make. It turns out we were wrong, and it turns out that having Hayato or Sakura or Camilla, whichever one we would have as our carry, do all the work was not correct. But this does result in a pretty chill warm-up for Loudheart. This is his first chapter as he's playing here. You can just move Hayato to the right and then to the left, and then he's done with the map. It just takes him like, I don't know how many turns we're at. It might be 10, it might be 12, but it's like, he does fight all the reinforcements eventually. If we don't have a carry at this point because we were planning using Xander, then we would actually use Reyna as a Dread Fighter for this chapter and have her do it, which is even slower because she has less move. It's not that much slower because you're already fighting all the reinforcements anyway, but it does mean you do a couple extra movements, and there's a couple enemies that might move in a different way. And in fact, what happened during the race is one of the fighters that was, I think, chasing after one of the 3 forced units, Arthur, Effie, and Elise, end up in a completely different spot that we expected, and we have to actually like backtrack for him a little bit, which costs us even more time. I will say in our defense, we're not as far behind as the VOD makes it look because we use more break time, but we are behind on chapters at this point. Like, this was absolutely a chapter where we lost a significant bit of time over both of you.
And I do want to give you credit for finding one thing here. I think on turn 1, Elise visits a village at the top. That's not to get a particular item or anything. It's so that when the outlaw spawns, the outlaw just wants to go to the nearest village. And if the village in the top right is still open, then the outlaw will go north, which is not in the direction that your carry is. But if that village is visited, then the outlaw will, I think, try to go south and around the barrier to get to this like middle right village. And that one that one is on way to your carry, so it's just easier to kill the outlaw there.
Yeah,
which I think like that's why you figured out that village.
That is totally why we did it. We didn't just get the item and never routed it out. That is totally right. Yes, very much. Let's move on to chapter 17 before everyone finds out that is not how it went. So chapter 17, let me find it real quick here. Tonic is the first one to arrive in the VOD here. So it's a seize map, and in Fates anyone can seize. It doesn't have to be Corrin. So the goal is just to kill the boss, which in this case is Iago, and then seize the chapter and you win. And the difficulty for Sakura, I assume, is that you can't just have her fly up to Iago and attack him, because there's 2 ballistas covering that area, and if she gets shot down, she's kind of dead, right?
Yeah, the ballistas have, like, I think 25 attack, and the formula is they double their might, so there's 2, like, 50 attack, very high hit ballistas attacking her. And if you die here, you go back to the start of 16, because there's no save between 16 and 17.
Yeah.
So at this moment, we pull a partner seal out of Convoy. By now, Sakura has been married to Corrin. And we go to one of Corrin's talent classes. His talent was
Mage.
Dark Mage or whatever, and she goes into Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
This is just to be grounded for this one chapter. She's only going to be grounded for like 13 tiles or something. She's going to go back into Dark Falcon very quickly in 18. But our general approach was to land in front of Iago as a grounded class and just like fight him to death, basically, right? Like, even this might take several turns. Oftentimes with Camilla, it did, in fact. This Sakura was just like insane, so she just one-rounds him, basically. But over however many turns that takes. So the turn prior to this, we equipped a Bronze Lance in order to stab a general to get the Troubadour up over there. And that way the Troubadour is out of range to heal Iago. In case this combat takes like several turns, the Troubadour won't go down and heal. I think that was actually probably a mistake. The Troubadour healing Iago is probably not that consequential. And then we deploy our secondary, in this case Oboro, the same person who was a secondary in 14. We deploy her up here so that, again, in case the combat takes a very long time, we don't have Paladins and Cavaliers fighting them over and over and over and over again, the people who show up in the top right. We just kill them in one round of combat and move on. This Oboro probably overfought enemies. Again, what I should have recognized is this Sakura is insane and is just going to one round Iago, so that's the only thing we need to do this chapter. We don't need to worry about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
That was our general approach to the chapter. Be in the grounded class, typically Sorcerer or Dark Knight, and just get out of here as quick as we can.
Yeah, and you were looking for an excuse to go Dark Knight anyway, right? To pick up Heartseeker.
Yeah. Heartseeker and Malefic are both like pretty good skills that were part of our late game benchmarking, and so this is just a convenient time to do it, so we went ahead and did it.
That makes sense. I think we started our Sakura strats with the same idea of like, this is reclassing to, I think in our case, it was on my OG or whatever in front of Iago, and it worked quite well. We'll get into our approach in a bit, because the first one to arrive, or the next one to arrive, is actually Josh. Let me see what my man Jacob did. That is the wrong timestamp.
So
I'll click the 14 one.
I sure did.
It's honestly, it's not very different. As you can see, you missed the part where Jacob became a Dark Flyer.
It's unfortunate. Good thing you highlighted
So Jacob goes to the Dark Flyer for this map, despite the fact that he has no weapons he can use as a Dark Flyer. Which is it's so funny. Anyway, we do this dance because we don't have a plus move pair up, because we need the bonus from supportive in order to always kill Iago in one round of combat, which we can always do even under static, thanks to the magical powers of Elbow Room.
Right.
Essentially, it's the same motions though. We go into Dark Flyer, do a dance, max move down, stand in front of Iago, reclass into a class that can kill Iago and not die to ballistas.
So Dreadfighter.
End map next turn.
Mm-hmm.
That's the plan.
Hey, if it works.
Though, if you are using a physical carry, be sure to have the Sting Shuriken equipped, because the generals will try and new boss you. And so we can't have that.
Yeah, for anyone not
do have to seize.
For anyone not up to date on the Raisins store, new boss means you kill the boss, but then another enemy gets on the throne or gate or whatever you're supposed to seize, and then they don't die at the end of your enemy phase, so you have to spend another turn in a chapter even when you don't want to.
I'm very proud of that one, actually.
It's pretty good. I think it's
No,
up there
really
with
good.
it's up there with suffering some success from like most iconic Fire Emblem lore now, or Fire Emblem terminology.
Oh dear. Yeah, I see random people say it now. I'm like, let's go me. You know?
My contribution is my legacy is eternal now.
Mm.
Yeah, let me find hours. I do want to harken back to your Jacob pathing actually, because we kind of brushed over it between like chapters like 10, 14, and 17. There's a lot of Jacob things going on, but let me finish off chapter 17 real quick. So over here, so we had an approach where we wanted to minimize either the amount of fighting or the amount of turns spent on the chapter, and we didn't want to. Specifically, we're trying to avoid fighting all the generals down at the bottom, skip combat, and we were willing to move units here to do so. So we feel that Scarlet, one of her 2 contributions in the run, and Hinoka, which can just be any flyer. I think one of them had to be 7 move, one of them had to be 8 move, or 7 plus move, 8 plus move, basically. And they kill the Dark Knights in the center, and stay out of range of the Faceless, though he doesn't, because if that guy hits you, he has a skill that immobilizes you, and that's bad. And then the next turn, you can fly past that group into like near where the Fire Orb is. And there's like an area below that is safe for anyone, because there's so many peak tiles that the enemies at the bottom or the enemies at the top cannot reach you. Depending on what the carry is, you can either like kill that guy with the Fire Orb, or if you have like Reyna, we'll leave him alive so that it covers the tile that the Faces can attack you from, I believe. There's like a little hole in the massive enemy range here where we put Hinoka. That's where like anyone can go without dying. And next turn they're going to go in that big safe area below the Fire Orb. And then the turn after that, the plan is that one unit flies down and kills Iago. Specifically with the magic carries, Sakura and Hayato, we were worried that they wouldn't one round or like miss an attack. And for that reason, we had Azura there as a backup, so that if they miss, we can dance, like fly the flyer with Azura down, switch Azura to the front, dance for the carry, attack Iago again, and then seize with the 3rd flyer that we have fielded for that purpose. Camilla has no such issue because she can one round with the dual club. So for her, there's like, I think she clears the turn faster. We did not field anyone to cover at the starting point because we have no one left there. Xander and friends show up, but what we usually do if we spend another turn here is move them to the left and just stay out of combat. And if we somehow can't for some reason, then we just let them take some combats. Like 1 unit faces like 2 combats, I think. It's not too bad. I'm not sure whether it's better to fight there and just spend more time and turns, or whether it's better to fight more enemies. But I honestly like all the approaches in this chapter. It was a really fun one to figure out for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty like I'm pretty sure yours was the best approach. You know, it kind of I sort of prided my approach over like, oh, I get out in so few turns and I have so few combats in the north. But like when I kind of count up how many combats yours does, even though yours moves more units, like just when I count up how many combats yours does, it's just like you're getting out on the same turn anyway, and you do so many fewer that it's like, okay, this is probably just like the fastest way through it. I think your approach is probably the best here.
It does require a bit more drafting precision, but the things we need for this were not super high in demand. I think honestly we could have picked like, I'm not gonna get into that, but I think we could have picked better and got like roughly the same result, because you also got Heartseeker out of this. I guess we should move on to 18 since this comes right after.
And by the way, in case there's ever like some map, this is me like speaking to the audience right now, in case there's ever like some map where it's like, oh, we skipped over this one, what did we do? You'll just have to watch the VOD. If there's some map that we just skipped over, then we kind of like all came to the same conclusion, and probably it's just like a very direct approach through the map that kind of like just gets straight to the objective and does it.
Yeah, the chapters
with not much variance or risk.
Yeah, the chapters I picked were ones where I think that was most interesting to elaborate on the objective or elaborate on the strategies, but a lot of maps in Rev are kill boss or C's and are just very straightforward in that sense. Or routes, you know, very straightforward as well.
But you guys don't want to talk about going upstairs in chapter 15? That's crazy.
I know, right? I mean,
well, we had different strats there actually. So.
we did. We could have actually talked about it.
True. Yeah. We could. Let's see how long we run. If you really want to talk about stairs after that, we can do it. But let's.
No. We don't have to talk about it.
All right. Chapter 18. Chapter 18. Yeah. Talk about 18, because that, Joshua,
sure.
that's a work of art you got there.
Yeah, you think? We actually screwed up and lost 2 minutes here. It's really killing me.
Wait, what went wrong?
The entire back half of the chapter.
Let's dial back and talk about like what you do in this map, which I kind of think of it as like I think of it as like a route map for, I think Joshua said 80% of the enemies, which is fair.
That's yeah. There's like 4 units at the end of the map you don't kill, and you kill basically everyone else. The basic concept here is that we determined that dropping off in the middle here is the fastest, provided that you have any legitimate combat secondary who can do combat in the bottom left. Are of course legitimate combat secondaries, of course, Ryoma. He's great. You can also do this with Camilla, and you can also do it with Xander, although Xander's worse. And we determined that the fastest way through is to go to the right, kill that guy, grab this Dragon Vein. Camilla's going to fly up, and is supposed to get the middle 2 Dragon Veins, but things don't work out, as you'll see soon, because I end up getting this middle Dragon Vein that Jacob's next to with Xander in a few turns, which is extremely important, because if I don't do that, I actually straight up lose the map, because of how badly I screw up. Towards the end of this map.
Crucial to mention here probably that you have to proc all the Dragon Veins on these different forts to open up the path to the boss.
You have to proc all 8 Dragon Veins in order to get the statue on the bottom island where you start to disappear, which will reveal another teleporter, which will teleport you to the room with the boss, and then you kill the boss. Because this is defeat boss.
Yeah.
I don't really have a whole lot to say about the pathing at this point. Other than Ryoma kills everything. Lucky crit on that general. You don't actually kill him without a crit.
Yeah, that is one of the reasons why I was not really willing to draft or field extra units for this chapter alone, is that even Ryoma, like probably the best combat unit you can have at this point, or the best one you can expect to like draft as a secondary, wasn't really doing it reliably. So that's why I kind of wrote that off, as we'll see in a minute. But,
so, yeah, he can't do it reliably, but the route that I take does account for an extra turn for them and still get where I want when I want. So if you've got to take 2 turns, it is what it is. I grabbed this Dragon Vein with Xander here, which is something I don't normally do, which is important because I mess up on this turn by not moving Azura. Azura is supposed to grab a Dragon Vein, and I failed to do that on the proper timetable.
Because she's like chilling on a Dragon Vein that started, or on a teleport at the starting point, right?
She's on a teleporter right now. And I don't move her. I don't use teleport and move her. See, she's right there on the teleporter. You know, Rio's going to go down here and take out this guy. And that's the timetable you want to get rid of these guys on. You've got a couple turns there. And I was supposed to move last turn. And now the enemy... So these Dragon Veins will spawn reinforcements if you do not get them fast enough. And I am 1 turn slow. So because I didn't move.
Ooh, so an enemy spawns right next to Azura. I mean, at least she can... Yep. Oh wait, the teleporters are one way. You can't even teleport out with her. You have to do this.
No, you can't. So we have to do it this way. This causes me to be behind for the rest of the map. And that also causes me to have to do things backwards. And I have to fight the ninja with Ryoma, which you don't want to do because he's got weapon triangle disadvantage, and the hit rate's terrible. But I did it anyway.
He teleports that way. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, he's not supposed to. But again, I messed up really badly.
Couldn't you go back with Jacob instead to fight a ninja?
No, we got to kill the Armor Knight at the bottom.
What if you do both?
Ryoma really struggles with that too. I determined that the ninja was the least bad option.
Fair enough.
And if you had done it correctly, then instead of detouring to the, center right, where would Jacob have gone?
So Jacob would have went through the teleporter and been right where Ryoma is right now.
Okay, and then he would have done this.
I actually have enough time to drop him all the way back down, grab a dance from Azura, and hit the bottom as well. And then Ryoma would go and kill the boss. So I don't have to loop back to... Yeah, I don't have to loop back to the main teleporter with anyone else.
Interesting. You have a non-main carry kill the boss. I never thought of this concept before.
Well, originally I was doing it with Camilla, because Camilla can do it with the dual club.
True.
And it's like super free. In the end, I dropped the dual club entirely and was completely prepared to do it with the killer axe.
Oh no.
Which sounds terrible, but I actually never had it fail in my 9 attempts.
But that means it can't fail. Yeah.
And this means 1 fewer shopping trip for the dual club, right? Like you don't have to buy that thing
anymore. Yeah. It's 1 less thing I have to buy. And you get the killer axe anyway because it's on Scarlet. And then if you have Ryoma, Regento, just kind of clears.
Yeah, and then Arete, the
Oh, actually,
flower,
wait,
I guess
am I
question
gonna
mark,
kill
question
with-
mark, question
Hold
mark.
on,
is like
no,
the
I am
easiest
gonna
enemy
kill
to
with
kill.
Ryoma here on next turn, actually.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And you'll see
I mean, it
this is
makes
like
sense.
super
Ryoma has
free.
a flyer carrying him around, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
these forests in the top right and bottom right are like kind of actually a pain in the butt to get out of. Like,
Yeah, the entire routing I did was to walk through forests as little as possible.
Oh, that makes sense.
And without a flying carry, that they become a huge hassle to deal with.
Yeah, I think that's as good of a segue into Raisins' this approach as anything, because he just started. I'll rewind it a little bit. I think he just switched to Meister here.
yeah. So this was Meister's first chapter. And Meister played like super well, by the way, in our thing. Except for this thing where
I
I'm
can
like
see Discord.
opening our
Yeah,
DMs or
it's
whatever.
playing so well. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Well, this is also me trying to like adjust the screen share or whatever. Really, what Gina should have done is just gone to Meister's stream, you know. But whatever. Here we are now.
Yes.
We
Slightly off.
had a
but we
pretty
can see it.
similar, yeah. We had a pretty similar start where we go and we fight these guys in this section, which, again, I think I figured out did a movement. So I'm actually gonna start with the conclusion is I came up with this like super elaborate turn by turn that involves a secondary in the same way. We kind of like take very similar pathing. On the next turn, we turn into a Dark Falcon, so we're flying, whereas Jacob from Joshua's team was grounded.
But you're grounded to like deal with these archers here, right? It's like a massive archer fest on this left side here.
Exactly, yeah, just for this literal one turn. It's like, this is too many bows. We have to remain in the grounded class for like one more turn, basically. And then after we kill all of these guys, then we can safely go Dark Falcon and do the rest of the map there. Now, that said, before I like brag too much about this turn by turn, it actually ends up being slower, even when I did it, than the other two strats as well. So, which I think is just a lesson in, you know, moving fewer units and whatnot, and having like less complicated things to do. This turn by turn, I think like it moves. There's like 4, sometimes 5 units, and everybody moves like once per turn. Like I think there's one guy who takes 1 turn off ever, basically, in the entire time. So it is a very complicated thing. The turns end up taking a very long time, even though the combats are all pretty efficient, except for this one literally on the screen right now as I say those words.
Seal speed.
Actually, and seal defense. Hold up, like give credit to both of them.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
is
but
hilarious.
it actually, yeah, that was part of like a war being able to do it. I will say, so what we allocated to the secondary was this bottom left combat and the top left combat, and the benchmarks for those are like practically identical to the benchmarks for the Chapter 14 Paladins. So whoever's able to do Chapter 14 is able to do this as well. Is at least to the standard that we wanted them to be able to do it. The rest of the map is like pretty similar. Takumi is our flying. He's in like Kinshinet right now with a plus move pair up. He just flies behind and hits the Dragon Veins as Sakura goes and clears all the enemies. And that's the idea as we leave. But the end result is that we end up actually just being slower than the other two teams who end up moving fewer units.
Not that much slower, right? Pretty sure it was pretty similar.
Uh,
I don't know if he timed it. But like the thing is, like right now we're in chapter.
if you count the
17,
shopping, it's
right?
actually a good bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like we're in 17 right now. Our timers are basically synced, and I'm pretty sure we spent roughly the same amount of time in 18. But we'll probably see it when we get there. Yeah, I don't know if there was something about Azura, I think, that struck me as interesting from your thing, where you like Azura go to the middle to act as a bridge between left side, right side, or something.
The teleporter here. I mean, that's just like the fastest way to get up to the top is to go through the teleporter, right? Like you just get there instantly.
Okay, I might be thinking of something else then.
Maybe. Oh, that was what the turn by turn I developed later.
Okay.
So sometime later, I came up with an even more complicated turn by turn than this, which saved like 15 seconds or something, and it was still slower than what you came up with, Mecha. That involved a lot of like running through teleporters and returning to the center island. Like it felt like I was playing a game of Quake or something with how fast people were moving through teleporters. It was like actually kind of outrageous. But this I came up with it literally the night before, and I just told Meister, like, don't worry about it, just do what you know, like don't try and learn this brand new thing, because like that's just not going to be helpful.
Yeah, that often comes with
know?
time costs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like just adapting to a new thing where you're used to an old thing, that can definitely mess you up if you do it the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just do what you know to do, because that's like just going to be better. I know for a fact.
Well, that's probably a good bridge to our approach, I guess. I don't know if you were done or not. Sorry.
I was pretty much done. Like, I mean, I gave the conclusion a while ago, which is we did a lot of crap and it ended up being slower. Like, go figure. That's what happens with speedruns.
Yeah, I do think you're presenting it as a very straightforward lesson learned. Like, oh, just do less and it will be better. The truth, I think the only truth here is that there's one fast approach, and sometimes that is the simplest approach, and sometimes that is the more complicated approach that saves like a bunch of enemy phases or turns or whatever, and that's just a case-by-case basis thing. So in case of chapter 14, the simple approach was wrong. In case of chapter 18, simple approach might have been right, because our approach is we use a flyer, in our case Dark Falcon Hayato, to kill everything, and then Takumi, or in our case actually Hinoka, promoted, flies behind and hits Dragon Veins right after Hayato's like cleared the area. So we literally wait at the starting point for one turn with Hinoka, and then with the +1 move pair up, she flies right behind Sakura, and every time, or behind Hayato, they're the same unit. And just every time that Sakura clears an area, it's free for Hinoka to fly in, claim the Dragon Vein, and just kind of move through the entire map that way. Basically, if you were to write a capital letter H, we write it in reverse with the movements of both of those units. And it just kind of works out well. We do have to deal with the bow area on the left side, but that is why we're packing a partner seal as well, because we also want to go and get Heartseeker at some point. And I tried so hard to like come up with a semi-reliable way to deal with that area as a Dark Falcon, so I didn't have to reclass, because I want to go back to Dark Falcon the chapter right after, but I just couldn't find a way to do it. Ideally, I would reclass on a turn here, but the tile I'm on with Hayato this is also my first chapter in a relay race, by the way. The tile I'm on right now is called Emptiness, aka you can only get there as a flyer, so you can't reclass into a grounded class there. And there was no other tile that I wanted to go to where I could land, as it were. So I take on one bow guy that has like no hit, I think it's an adventurer, as a flyer. And then this turn, I'm gonna move in range of all the enemies on the previous islands, like right at the edge of the rightmost enemy, then go Sorcerer. I messed around with Dark Knight for a short amount of time. I probably could have done more, but I determined at least for this chapter that Sorcerer did like the same things, but has a bit more magic, I believe. And the movement targets worked for Sorcerer, so I didn't really bother too much with Dark Knight. We'll probably have more to say on Dark Knight versus Sorcerer later. But yeah, now Hayato is in Sorcerer. He fights a couple enemies. He gets Heartseeker. He gets Malefic Aura, hopefully. There's, I think, a chance that if someone, doesn't have to be me, but it could be me, messes up and he somehow doesn't end up getting Malefic Aura, then I could go to the top room and fight extra combats to get Malefic and then reclass back to Dark Falcon between chapters, because I don't really want to go out of Sorcerer before I have Malefic Aura for that free +2 attack. But yeah, effectively it's just a route map. Hayato walks through as a Sorcerer for the rest of this. The only interesting thing from here that I guess I'll just say before we go to the next chapter is that Hayato cannot fly anymore, so we need Hinoka to bring him back to the Starter Island. So we never use a single teleporter for the entire thing. I never used one for the Dreadfighters either. I just have him like walk through the map. Paladin Xander walks through the map. Camilla as a Dreadfighter walks through the map. And it's a very simple approach. It's possible that the complicated approach can be faster, but we had limited time to work on this game. Most of us had to learn from scratch. And so we decided that simplicity was key here, and we just route the map with a unit that goes from one place to the other. And we were just lucky that it worked out well, because honestly, chances are if we had explored a little bit more, we could have come to a different conclusion. So yeah, that is 18, I think. Anything left to say on 18 for you guys?
No, I think it got covered pretty well. So, I mean, big route map, and like, I don't know, just one round the enemies and get to the objective quick as you can, right? So.
Rev in a nutshell. Alright, in that case, we can probably make a big jump to chapter 25. Okay.
That's 24.
Well.
Oh, well, you know what? Let's talk about 24.
Sure.
Like
you need to talk about your Jacob pathing anyway, right? At some point.
The Jacob path, it's the Dreadfighter pathing. If you've done it with Dreadfighter, you've done it with this. Jacob has Lock Touch, because we went through Ninja with him, so I don't need to do any switches, any shenanigans like that. We just do it. You just go.
You have your auto in turn too. Look at that.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. Did you know moving one unit is fast? It's crazy. The other thing about this is because I don't need to have a lock toucher attached to my guy, so I can just zoom through with core and attach, and so I don't have to deal with any like ending turn manually. I just go. It's very sick. You guys, however, have a Gale Force.
Yep.
Which is very different.
Yeah, if you have Gale Force, you can. I'm not even gonna look for the timestamp because I don't have it. But you kill that one Oni Chieftain at the top of the map there. You kill him and then you kill Mikoto in one fell swoop. You don't have to fight all these other enemies. For Xander, we had him separate from his thief buddy near the red door, and then the thief buddy next turn opens the door. Xander shelters, and that way he gets the speed back, the speed pair up, and he kills Makoto on enemy phase. I thought that one was pretty sick too.
That's pretty good, yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, I remember like trying this and getting like pretty annoyed at all the enemy phase kills that just like sacks the plus move pair up here.
Yeah.
For what felt like no reason in like several extra combats. So I ended up like coming up with the Gale Force thing where you just go into the corner and like you just Gale Force in and you kill the guy. And that was a lot more satisfying because for one, you got the plus move pair up, which came in pretty handy in later chapters as well. But also you got out of there pretty quick. There wasn't like extra ninja combats or anything.
Yeah.
We did have to do, I think I'm on it right now. We have to do this, either a switch or a separate is good. And on the next turn in front of the red door, yeah, you depair again. And that allows you to open the door, kill the Oni, and then kill Mikoto.
Oh yeah, I remember sometimes you have to make an extra little move like that. I forgot exactly the details, but we have the same thing. You have a Dark Falcon Kase with you.
Yeah.
I think that's for all the flyer.
He's a lock touch user with plus move pair up, right? That's good enough.
It was actually for
he's one either
plus
way
speed
though,
and plus
right?
magic. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh right, that's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, during some of the maps where we needed the plus move pair up, the plus speed and plus magic from the Dark Falcon was also like very important.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, you're actually neck and neck right now. The timers are slightly off, but visually at least, you're both in chapter 25. So who wants to talk about elevators?
Actually,
sure.
you, because I gotta pee for a sec. So.
Okay, sure.
Oh, cool. I'll start. So obviously my pathing is completely different because I don't have a secondary. I instead have my carry and my carry again. Do you guys like replicate?
It's really cool.
It is really cool. I'm very glad I get to use one of the staple skills of Fates in this. As you can see, I switch and use Rally Defense on Camilla.
I mean, that seems like a thing that's like, oh, I have this, I might as well use it. Or was that planned?
I was having issues, particularly with, not this room, but the next room, and coming in on lower HP is, like, not ideal. I don't want to, like, have to heal more than I have to. So I figured Rally Defense is better. It's particularly useful for our backup carry, Kaze, who sucks at defense.
Was that your order, Jacob, Kaze, and then Camilla or something?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Jacob, Kaze, and those are the only two units we practiced. We practiced no other units because none of you were taking Kaze in the first round. I refuse to believe that.
That's correct.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's so bad on paper.
For Raisin, yeah, no, I did explore it like a little bit at the end, but more as like a thing is like, where is this going? And we came to the conclusion it wasn't good enough to use, but maybe we were wrong. Anyway, elevators.
That's funny, because I came to the conclusion that he's just like strictly better than trying to do anything with Xander.
That is funny.
Because like I was doing, because it's always better to do like Kaze carry, Xander secondary, than doing Xander carry with like a Kaze bridge.
That is interesting.
Anyway, Kaze. The reason behind Kaze as a carry is because just like Jacob, he has one of the fastest paralogs in the game, and also just like Jacob has a fast support with Korin, and as such, you can get him on time. You can get Midori for this map, and then Midori would do everything that Jacob's replicate is doing right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So did you
except worse because he's not Jacob.
Yeah, you have Ryoma, I think, ready for a Dragon Vein, but other than that, like the goal is just to have two different Dragon Vein users transported to two different Dragon Veins. Because in order to beat the map, you have to activate all three Dragon Veins and then fight Tsuragi in final move. So did you come to the conclusion that you actually needed double combat unit for this?
Need is a strong word. The answer is no, you don't need it. You could do it without, but I found that it's just under a minute faster with.
All right, yeah. It's almost never neat, but in the draft phase, it's often like, do you save time doing this?
Yeah. It saves. I think I calculated it saved 54 seconds, which was good enough for me to say we actually should have this prepped. And luckily, Jacob can just do it himself. Although this does get a little dicey.
Yeah, you got a lot of guys here that don't die.
There's a lot of guys here, and because we faced the ninja debuff from the top room, we no longer have the strength to one-round these guys on enemy phase.
The drawback of
luckily,
replicate.
we have this very cool item. You might have heard of it. It's called the Barb Shuriken, actually. A weapon that is usually considered notoriously bad in Fates. But we're using it here because it's the only way that we can theoretically kill this Oni chieftain.
I had to look up what the Barb Shuriken does. It's just it's like a killer shuriken, right?
It's the killer shuriken. Killer weapons are typically treated pretty bad in Fates because they mess up guard gauge math. And that's true, but I have decided I don't actually care about guard gauge math. I won't die. Trust. That was the whole plan. And you know what? It worked.
Did you find Replicate is better than just having another unit, say Ryoma, do the combat?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, without question. So Ryoma is probably the best at doing this combat down here at the bottom outside of the actual carry. Your other option is to, you could use, I was using Midori, like I said.
Yeah, like
for
kids,
positive.
basically, right? Like late
And let me tell you, that sucked. That was awful. But she could do it if you proc enough Dragon Fangs. That's real. I did give her Dragon Fang because she inherits it from Korin. The other option for a secondary combat unit, if you have one, is to, if you're using magic carry, you can get the child, whatever child it is, whether that's Kana, whether that's Rajat, Asuki, make them Nor Noble, which you get from the Korin family tree.
Mm-hmm.
Give them the Calamity Gate, and they can do the entire top room. They sometimes don't one round the ninjas because those ninjas are pretty fast, hard to double. But you can get through it. They'll have Royal Blood, so you don't need to worry about anyone else like that. They pop the Dragon Vein just before you enter the last room. Okay.
Oops. Hold up.
I'm running out of things to.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll do
talk
mine.
about
Don't worry.
regarding
I'll do my
chapter
elevator. That'll
25.
last us a while. Let me find.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
tell us about
Oh,
the
hey, bro.
magical world of blocking elevators temporarily in order to make the lines line up.
Oh,
Yeah.
me or Raisins? Like I don't think we did that after all. No, we
Did you not? Did you not block
Oh, okay.
elevators for like a turn?
All right, hold up. Let me go back to the start of the map because it's more visible there. I guess this is a nice way to. This is Lautar's first chapter again. Okay, here it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the elevators for clearance, they're just like stationary rooms that move between turns. And if you're in them when they're moving, then you can move yourself across the map. And if you're not in them, then they just waste your time. We're allowed to skip the animations, but it still takes more time than a turn that doesn't have them. So we were trying to minimize them when we could, but we weren't really willing to go out of our way too far to do it. Again, it's like simplicity, like doing more things in order to make less animations play versus just letting more animations play because it's faster is the dilemma here once again. So our approach is a solo approach. We do not use a secondary for this once again. We think we learned a lesson after losing time in 14, but I guess not. This time it's Hayato as an Onmyoji, for one, because there are bows and we don't want to face them with Dark Falcon, and two, because we still want to get Tome Fair to reach a higher attack threshold later in the game. I think I played this Onmyoji for like one map already, so I think he only has to get like one or two more skills. And Nyoka's only here to trigger Dragon Veins and that's it. Shura stands in the doorway of an elevator and that stops that elevator from moving around. He only does it for one turn and that should, in theory, make it line up where later on, when Hayato wants to get an elevator, it's there for him and he doesn't have to wait for it. Something goes wrong later on where it doesn't exactly happen as it does. But yeah, the solo approach, the idea is basically kind of like treat it like a route map. You have to fight most of these enemies anyway. I don't mind taking extra turns to do so. As long as I avoid reinforcements, I'm fine with it. But I do not want to deal with an unreliable carry doing things. We don't want to recruit Rajat at this point to help with it, because she had specific benchmarks to reach for late game that she would only reach with the extra auto leveling that came from recruiting her later. We could have probably patched that up in some other way through, like, say, buying more stat boosters. But we didn't really look into that too hard. I don't remember if the issue was like magic or speed, but that is what we came to like as a conclusion. So that means that Hayato just has to do this by himself with a Quorum pair up. Unlike Sakura, Hayato cannot trigger Dragon Veins because he doesn't have Royal Blood. So what you awkwardly have to do is when you get on a Dragon Vein with Hayato, you have to switch to Korin, hit the Dragon Vein, and there's a reinforcement trigger between the tile he was on previously and the Dragon Vein tile. It does not activate if you're on a Dragon Vein, hilariously enough. And what that means is that you have to switch back to Hayato and just sit there for another turn, wait, and then move off with Hayato because he has enough movement to get off thanks to the boots. And then he's going to make his way to the top. And from there, it plays out fairly similarly to what Joshua did. Hinoka held the elevator, I think, for just enough that this turn it pops up for you to get into. You could also probably do it in a way where you fight those guys down below and make it to the elevator at the same time without holding it. I don't remember the details. And then in this room, Loudheart unfortunately accidentally used the Gate of Calamity, causing a calamity to occur, where he gets hit by a ninja, takes some extra damage that he didn't need to, and almost freaking dies. But he improved his way out of the mistake, and thanks to Relief, he doesn't even have to like use a healing item. Instead, he just gets to waste Raisins' time and cause him anxiety attacks by every time it activates.
Yeah,
we weren't sure what skill to ditch. Raisins would have told him like ditch Relief because it wastes your time. But I actually advocated for Relief for this chapter, just so you don't have to worry about healing between like fights. It just happens automatically while you're waiting for elevators or getting to Dragon Veins or something like that. I do think in the end, Raisins' approach of just ditch Relief as soon as you no longer need it is probably better in the end, and just use concoctions and vulneraries, but that is the reason why it's there, and why we instead got rid of like speed +2 or magic +2, one of the two, I don't remember. But because he had to spend an extra turn here to keep himself safe, we missed the elevator that we held with Shura previously, and so we have to awkwardly sit here and wait for Relief to come to us. But once the elevator is here, he just kind of sweeps the rest of the rooms, no problem. There's like a bit of a timing with the Dragon Veins here. Once you activate the third Dragon Vein, Sumeraki's final room starts moving around up and down, and we want to delay that until we are ready to fight him at once. So what we're going to do is like go through the map first, and then once we're ready to fight him, Inoka will hit the middle Dragon Vein. I noticed that Joshua's team hit the top Dragon Vein last instead, but I don't think it made a practical difference because you weren't delaying anything for that sake, right?
Well, I mean, you want to open the door as late as possible so you don't watch the elevator move.
Yeah.
For Tsumuragi's room.
There's also like reinforcements that will appear and get in your way if you do it from a distance, as our team did. So.
Oh, true.
That's what reinforcements? How does that work again?
So there are reinforcements. I don't exactly know how they work, because they sometimes seem to appear from the top and sometimes seem to appear from the bottom
so after you
hit the last Dragon Vein.
So after you activate the 3 Dragon Veins, on the first even-numbered turn after doing that, the reinforcements will appear on the top, and on the first odd-numbered turn after doing that, the reinforcements will appear on the bottom.
Okay, but that's like the turn you're killing the boss anyway, right? So it's just a reinforcement spawn animation that you were sitting through at that point.
For you guys, yes, it's the turn you're killing the boss anyway. For us, we activate the 3rd Dragon Vein with their carry, who needs to make their way over to Sumeragi, and so we go through that reinforcement.
All right, I'll just get to your part, I guess, since that makes sense to show off a little bit. Because I think you soloed as well, right?
Yeah.
I think you
picked the end game.
That's fine.
Oh, I did.
We're still on 25.
Yes, I keep wanting to get the end game. I hate Rev. Not just kidding.
Understandable.
Tonic. There you go.
Yeah, so this was, I think, Meister reclassed to Dark Knight here for some extra bulk. In my practices and in my roots, I found that Dark Falcon was actually just like totally fine. I understand that there are some bows down there, but with some like guard gauge math and understanding move order, you like are totally at no risk whatsoever to bows. Like I think literally a bow never connects with you ever under any circumstances.
Interesting.
So you're just like totally fine. He was more comfortable with Dark Knight, and after checking that it met the speed benchmark, I was like, okay, sure. Like we got to be in this class at some point anyway, so like might as well. This is like totally fine.
And you guys need life taker, right?
Yeah, I think he ditched it, but I think you probably wanted it, right? Like you planned for it.
Yeah, we put it back on for final.
Okay.
There's a point after which like you no longer need Gale Force and you need Life Taker. Like you never really need one or the other, or like you never need both. You just need one or the other ever, really. But so this is kind of like the pathing that I followed with the Korin. I experimented actually with a bunch of different ways to do the solo carry route. I experimented with like bottom, center, top. This one here as well, and I found that this was just like far and away the fastest way to do it with like the solo unit, was to just go straight to the top and do that one first, and then get the center on the way down, and then do the bottom last. It was faster by like 40 seconds or something like outrageous. So I decided to just kind of focus on doing this the entire time. And I also experimented with like a whole bunch of different like secondary strategies and door holders and rescue stabs and whatnot. And I found that all of them were slower, with the exception of a mage or a Nor Noble going to the top with Calamity Gate, killing these guys. I briefly experimented with like Ryoma and Xander, or like Ryoma to the south, and I gave him like Xander, just some like arbitrarily strong pair up. And I like was just so disgusted by his performance that I completely wrote off any strategy that involved a secondary going to the south, like whatsoever. I was like, if Ryoma can't do it, then nobody can. So I just like hated it. So I completely wrote off all of those and just kind of focused on secondaries going to the north, which with a different draft order, we probably would have done that with Kana. But, you know, here we are just with Sakura doing the regular strat. It's pretty simple overall, I think. I kind of like mentioned all the various things I tried that were slower than this, and so we just kind of arrive on this thing. It's the same thing I did with Korin. And again, there's some like guard gauge timing, you find an extra reinforcement. There's a moment where if you show up to the room at the wrong time, you want to like sit still for a turn so that you can run right up to the door while it's closed, and then when it's open, you run in and you kill Sumeragi rather than killing any of the guys in that room. So taking the extra turn is faster than doing the extra like 7 combats that happens if you go into the room quickly.
Oh yeah, because you only have this pair up to do the Dragon Veins with. You only have to time it a bit. It makes sense. Because we could hit it whenever we wanted. I did this like you said. I understand better what you said earlier now.
So why didn't you say deploy Azura to grab the middle Dragon Vein after you cleared out all that room?
It takes so many turns that turning off the auto end turn is actually like really bad, and also the extra inputs to move this like 5 move Azura to the center vein.
Oh, you could Takumi, right?
Yeah, or Takumi or whoever, like some Royal Blood unit. In this case, it probably would have been Takumi. I did actually try that one as well, and it was like still slower.
Okay.
Really?
In large part due to the auto end turn as well.
Oh, I guess I can see that. Would you have like if Sakura had replicate, would you have used it?
Probably. I think like just sending the like on turn 2 probably when you're in this bottom elevator and someone needs to go to the middle anyway. That's probably when I would have used it.
Yeah. Because I'm asking this because I think neither of us were like on like doing Jacob full-time carry. I don't remember. Is that correct?
No.
Oh, you were gonna do Jacob carry. Okay.
No, as in like I agree with you. I wasn't on that at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just me. Got it.
Yeah. I had like plans for Jacob like secondary or for like temporary carry up until Camilla, but I never had like plans for like full carry Jacob.
Okay. Makes sense. I think you still would have picked him first though, right? I think you said that.
I did. Mostly for Paralogue.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this is the term where you want to like move very meekly and then just wait 2 turns for the thing to go up and then back down.
Yeah.
You don't want to go like all the way in there.
It's curious that this is faster for you than doing like the Takumi move to the Dragon Vein thing, because you do end up fighting like all the extra enemies. Like you fight like 4 extra combats, I would say, to do this.
It's 3 extra.
Okay.
So the reinforcement is 2 Basaras and 1 Mechanist.
Yeah, but you fight what are they called? The bow guys, the merchants on the way there that we didn't.
Well, you fought them as well.
Okay, I fought the guys at the top and you went for the bottom, so I guess that's even.
Oh yeah, well there's more enemies up there.
Yeah.
So that was part of the reason why doing the north room last was like slower in my mind.
I think you're right. I think we should have gone bottom in the first place. I don't remember why we went. I think we only measured like tile distance and not amount of enemies. That's interesting.
No. I went top for a very specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because that Jacob is the one that had supportive active.
Oh, I see.
And I wanted the extra hit against Sumeragi.
That makes sense.
So that's why I did it. But in other routes, I was using the bottom because it is faster.
That's interesting. I remember, I think Loudheart said, I tested this and this order was faster. So I guess there were just different reasons for that, and he didn't account for the enemy count. Interesting.
Yeah, this was like in the whole like banned Corn arc. I think this was like probably responsible for half of the time I spent like doing stuff at all, to be honest. Like was this map, and so I kind of like ended up doing the same thing that I did during that during this section, and just didn't really deviate from it too much. Every time I tried something new, it was like, this is just slower than what I was already doing. So, and for the whole Dark Falcon thing, instead of going left here immediately after this elevator, you go right and you start killing the merchants and the Kinshis instantly, and that like guard gauges every bow, and you just never get hit by a bow ever.
Okay. Leo. Yeah, I think we had to go, in order to get Tome Fair, I think we kind of had to go non-flyer here, but knowing this, I wonder if it would have been better to route all my OG levels elsewhere. Or route out Tome Fair.
Yeah, I mean, if you got to get it, then like you got to get it, right? So this is, I think, so when I did the Camilla, this is when I reclassed her like out of a flying class into Dreadfighter, because I was like, this is really the first acceptable map in a long time to be a grounded unit, in my opinion.
It is.
Like,
you move so little.
Yeah, like you move so little, you don't need to like cross any terrain or whatever. It's like, if you have to do it anywhere, this is like a totally fine time to do it, right? So.
Makes sense. All right. Anything else on
elevators? And I do want to mention actually for Camilla going into this one. So when I prepare, I do Dreadfighter, and there's actually her first chapter in Dreadfighter. So I also buy 4 arm scrolls and just get her straight to A swords and like, whatever shuriken range she can do as well. So that was the other thing I did in preparation for her.
That is true. I actually skipped over our chapter 21. We'll do that as a bonus after Endgame, because you're good at stats for that. For now, let's actually properly click the Endgame timestamps when I need them.
Yeah, please.
Because Endgame is just like chapter 17 in that you don't have a preps menu, or you don't have a save option before you get into it. So if you reset, you have to play chapter 27 again. 27 is short, but it's still time loss. And 95 was here first. Once again, they just killed, I think we call it like statue version of Arankos. And
Yeah.
I mean, you're Jacob, so I'm assuming you got to kill a claw, you got to kill another claw, and you got to kill
Okay, so
wait, hold up. Why is the timestamp wrong? Hold up. Why am I here? Let's go back a little bit.
No. I mean, no, I'm at the right spot. I was about to click the claw.
Oh,
Jacob.
sorry. I was just... All right, go ahead.
I mean,
take it away.
We're entering this chapter at very, very close times.
Oh, yeah, I was looking at the wrong one.
Top replicate left, pair up, dance, soldier's knife, of all things. And this does one round the claw. Pretty much almost anyone can actually one round these claws with the soldier's knife. The benchmark is extremely low. Like, I was shocked. Well, you know, if Kaze can do it, anyone can do it. Here we use Ryoma. This can be anyone. We just need somebody who's not going to immediately fold to enemy pressure to hold that spot open.
Oh, yeah.
This is so we can use a Dwyer rescue, that's Dwyer the Troubadour, who I gave both the extra boots to, so I don't have to promo him for the world's smallest time save.
Yeah,
and once Ryoma is finishing leveling up, you'll see it on next turn. Dwyer's going to immediately go over, pop the rescue, get us to the other side. We've got guard gauge from the first claw, and we can just kill this one.
Yeah, and you got rid of the debuff by fighting on enemy phase, because usually Soldier's Knife has your strength for
it does
until you attack again.
However, but because we fought on enemy phase, and because we have a cool replicate here, we can attack enemies with a different weapon, completely clearing that debuff. And you see, I equipped the Sting here because I'm going to fight that general. And this is the part where I lose a bunch of time because a bunch of people die, but you do what you have to kill both claws by the end of turn 2. And then after this, things get really wonky and don't work out as planned.
Yeah, what went wrong? Because I feel like what happened was not the plan.
So this part is all relatively normal. There's just not a clean way to do this in Mechanist, unfortunately. When we get to the eye, you'll see where things go wrong. I use the wrong weapon and forces me to, I think, do a whole extra turn. And we would watch a bunch of enemies and I lose a bunch of time. Because I accidentally attacked with the Soldier's Knife and I was supposed to attack with the Sting.
Oh, yeah.
Not on the head, but on the eye. This is normal. You go here, you run away here, and heal.
Were you meant to equip the steel?
Unit, yeah.
With the replicate, right? Because the replica has this, can re-equip the original, basically.
That's right. And so basically, you just do that to clear the debuff and then also kill the eye, or kill the head at the same time. That's all normal. And then this is where I screw up. It's not on this turn, on next turn. So what we do here is we equip, I think that's the Sting, because the Sting doubles. Our Jacob was too slow, can't double with the steel. Sad. He does that, and then on this next turn is where I mess up. I use the Soldier's Knife on the replica Jacob. I'm supposed to use the Sting. So basically the plan is you use the Sting with the replicate Jacob, because we're going to go him up, and I'm going to accidentally use the Soldiers. I'm supposed to click the other button to go to Sting. And then if you click Sting, you double, and then you kill with the Soldiers, and you end the map now. But I clicked the wrong one.
Oh, so that causes a turn loss on Fortnite.
That's right. Yeah. And that's a very unfortunate turn loss. And as you can see, I'm spending way too much time trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you can find a way to end the map now, that'd be really good. Like,
But I could not, so I just run away and yeah, equip that. Or no, I don't run away. I just grab the concoction and heal.
Yeah, I mean,
And
the real Jacob heals, but if your replica dies, Jacob just dies as well, right? It doesn't matter which
That's
dies.
right. So you do need to be in health. We put Ryoma here, which is to just draw aggro.
Yeah. Because his stats are worse.
No,
And if he dies, it's
unfortunately, I
fine.
lose. And then, so yeah, he dies. He doesn't die, actually. I think he lives this one.
Mhm.
Normally, he doesn't. He did this time. But yeah, just a very, very not clean end game, mostly on my end. Because the plan would have worked, and we could have ended, what is that, a minute? That I probably could have saved? Or just under?
Possibly.
From that enemy phase?
Just in general, Endgame is a very punishing map. Like, even if you don't have to reset it, even if you just fight a bunch of extra enemies because your plan doesn't work out, it's just so bad.
Yeah.
That's why we wanted really badly to find a way to end it
Still,
quickly.
121 is a somewhat respectable time.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely smashed all the previous public race
But
records.
I do, yeah. It does suck because I do feel like I left 6 minutes on the table in just my section. And I'm still kind of beat myself up over it.
That's just racing in general, man.
True.
No, it's a very good time. You might have noticed that Tonic Drinkers also finished in this amount of time, so I guess it's a good time to get to that one. Because
to our final chapter strat?
Yeah, your Sakura.
I
Because
looked about how Sakura completely smokes Anakos.
yeah, I was about to say, I think I actually had a lot of trouble with Dark Falcon Sakura and getting to finish the map within a reasonable amount of time. I always thought I had too many combats when soloing, but you're just doing it.
Yeah, so a couple things help here. The Life Taker, just to restore HP, like you
Yes.
get to deal damage and you get to heal at the same time, is like pretty good.
From the Dark Knight, very nice.
Yeah, from the Dark Knight. So the Life Taker here is actually like pretty handy. And in a lot of the routes I did, actually, that was like literally the combat you just saw is the combat where she earns Life Taker. Sometimes this is literally like just where she hits level 20, and so I can go. Our final chapter strat is significantly less creative than the other teams were, and but before I really get into that, like I do want to give a shout out to my teammate Meister, who was playing this portion, and also who came up with a lot of like really good strats for the end game that involved other units and got through this in like a much faster time. So if you're looking at this and being like, well, that's really boring, that's kind of all my fault. What kind of happened is, as the strats for the entire rest of the game developed, I kind of ended up just like routing out all of the ingredients that Meister would have like possibly used to bring more units here and save more time. And so as a consequence of what happens during the entire rest of the run, all we have is Sakura, and we just kind of like solo the whole thing with Sakura.
Mm-hmm.
I do think even the strat that we did like could have been improved by a bit. Like even on turn 2, involving Azura in some way, I think could have like gotten us to the claw like one turn sooner, and we would have actually been like a lot faster out of this chapter. But in any case, we weren't like too creative. We kind of just fight. We go to the shops. We buy like 6 elixirs. We have Heartseeker and Life Taker equipped, and we just kind of like sit in front of the head with the Fire +2 equipped and just fight them until we win, because we have like 6 elixirs worth of healing and Anankos doesn't. Right? So like eventually we just kind of win that fight. And that's sort of how we go through here. So that's our basic final chapter strategy.
Yeah, I remember trying this with Sakura, and the problem I ran into is that lightning debuffs were really wrecking me. And in hindsight, I probably should have explored Snake Spirit a bit more. When I was using it, the hit rate was just too low for my liking. But forging it or better use of Heartseeker would probably have prevented that. Because if you can one-round claws, and you can one-round everything in your way, what else can possibly be faster?
Yeah, exactly. The Snake Spirit was another find by Meister. It was kind of something that to him was very obvious. And once I got in, it became like actually pretty easy to like determine the parity of what was going on. Like sometimes you could just like look at the enemies and be like, oh, there's going to be an even number of combats that's going to happen during this turn, so it's just going to like undo the debuff for the start of my next turn, right? Like you can kind of like just identify that in very many positions. Typically when fighting the core here. This one didn't happen. I think someone like mysterious survived, and so we just kind of like end up fighting this guy instead. But that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, I think Life Taker really was a missing ingredient that we didn't experiment with enough, because usually a big problem I ran into is I can't both make progress with killing and heal myself, and Life Taker does exactly that.
Yeah, for sure. So it was actually like a pretty big step in there. I think I was the one who introduced that. Like I think I didn't even like think about it. I just earned it on accident one time, killing like the Ananko's head. And I was faced with the screen where I had like the thing to like discard one thing, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna proc Gale Force anymore, so let me just like get rid of this. And it was like, oh, it was like the bird eating the breadcrumbs. It was like, wait a minute, like this is it, like this is the good stuff, right? So
yeah, unfortunately, Anankos does end up surviving that one attack with, I think it's like you're 1 or 2 HP, so you had like one more enemy phase to play out, but then you're done with 117.58. That's such a good time.
Yeah, really good. This is about, well, with the penalty added, so it's 118.58. I think was our actual final time. Which is, I think, like 4 minutes higher than the PB I got, but I lost 2 minutes and Meister lost 2 minutes, so we'll call it even Stevens, and I'm very happy with that time.
Fair enough. Really cool. Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember our Hayato stats in the end. Oh, yeah, I do remember our Hayato stats, actually. But I should just show them, because we picked Hayato.
You guys did some absolute wackiness. Courtesy of Dark Flyer Rajat, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, let me get it on screen here. So this is, Raisins said he routed out all the cool stuff and made it boring. We tried to do it the boring way and either kept dying or finding it unreliable. At one point I had a strategy where our guard gauge kept Sakura alive when soloing, but we weren't happy with the amount of comments we were doing. So we recruited Rajat from her Paralogue and spent probably about 2 to 3 minutes doing that. But the result is that you get this absolute unit that reclassed to Bazara with the Offspring Seal. And I'm going to pause somewhere where I can see her stats just to see how absolutely insane they are. I'll do it when she's like killed a claw. But this is one way you can have an extra Hayato, is get a kid and turn them into second class. Because when you go Bazara, you get Quixotic to solve the hit rate problem that Rajat usually has. And, oh, come on, let me get it here.
Oh, she's got the Kaze combat parameters.
Which are exact 1-round kill, or what?
Yeah, 60 times 4.
Yeah, it's pretty good. She inherited Tome Fair from Hayato, and she got the boots for an extra point of movement to reach this claw. Loudheart almost messed up because he had Leo pair up when it was used to non-move pair up, so he was like, wait, why can I move an extra tile? Let me do that. No, don't do that. And yeah, now we have 2 units that can both 1 on the claw on turn 1 without any assist whatsoever. But we still wanted to keep both of them alive, so we employed rescue staves with Shura and Hinoka. This is why we drafted them earlier than they might deserve based on their other flunky duties. And Azura looks like she's in danger from getting wrecked by something, but this is because this phase is not active until the next player phase. So this Ananko's head will not attack us this turn, and so that the tile is actually completely safe for her. And because of the guard gauge that we got from the kill on the head, Rajat had the guard gauge to just attack here and get some chip in for Hayato to get the kill. And Hayato got guard gauge from his fight as well, so he survives the Bow Knight attacking him. Hinoka was an unfortunate sacrifice to the Wyvern Lord. And then turn 2, they can both attack again. And Azura's here to provide an extra attack for one of them. Shura has a staff to heal Rajat with, to give her the HP to survive the next attacks, because it does hit res, so it doesn't hit very hard on Rajat, but it can do some damage, and she's like low in health from the claw. And then Rajat gets to lightning for 44, and then I think she gets a dance, and she does it again, and she gets the kill. Both our other carries, Xander and Camilla, one of the reasons we were considering them so heavily is that they can also do these fast kills very well, but we had a lot of trouble making them happen with Rajat, or with Hayato and Sakura, and this was our solution, is just use our Paralogue unit for it. The time spent getting Rajat is obviously not necessary in hindsight, with like better optimization of like the Forge or Snake Spirit, but it did land us an actual PB of 126.53 as a collective. Obviously doesn't look very good compared to the times you guys got, but we were happy with it nonetheless as a thing of its own, and we had a lot of fun planning it. But you said you're beating yourself up over the time that you left on the table. We do feel like we left a lot of time on the table in hindsight, looking at the differences in our time. Like, holy god, could have done so much better. But hey, good race. GG.
Yeah. I would like
really
to
happy with
comment
everything
on,
it went, so.
I'd like to comment on just how much faster these times were than what we got just last year. When the fastest time was a 146 in a race that started from chapter 6. And it looks so pathetic now.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why we were happy with, like, when Gine asked us, like, what time are you hoping for? We're like, 130, 140 or something would be fine with us. and we were happy with that because we didn't know just how fast you could go. Like our standards have just been changed.
Yeah, I think like for our team, you know, once I kind of came up with this, I was like, Maestro, we need to like practice until we never get over 120 under any circumstances. Basically, it's like this needs to be like your worst run needs to be a 120. Basically, is like what we kind of came up with.
Yep. That's right.
I'd like to give a shout out to my team member Spam, who did the routing for the entire first half of the game, and came up with a lot of neat little tricks to get Jacob married on time, get supportive by chapter 7, here in Prologue. And in this chapter, oh, you went to the right chapter.
Yeah,
Perfect.
By accident. It was just meant the background. You don't have to comment every single little thing, but if there's something you want to say, feel free to say it.
No, this is great. So in this routing here, Jacob gets 2 dual strikes. And that is 1 dual strike with Quarren, which is the exact minimum required for us to have the C support going into chapter 7. Because they're paired up in chapter 6. And then also gets a dual strike to kill that generic. He dual strikes with Gunter for that. That puts him at enough EXP that he can be level 5 in chapter 7 by the end of the 2nd room, so he can go into Dread Fighter and kill all the ninjas on 2 range. So it was a really that dual strike is incredibly important, even though it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the place where I routed that in is actually on like this turn that we're seeing in chapter 3 right here. I just go 1 tile fewer and I put Jacob next to it, and I don't get 2 dual strikes, but I get 2 adjacent combats, which I think gives like 2/3 of a support point, which rounds to 1. So
yeah,
that's the way that I routed in the Jacob support.
Yeah, I've been memeing on the Rev like chapters and whatever design, but sometimes the routing gets really interesting, especially when it comes to support points. That is for sure. And
yeah, getting units married was like actually kind of a pain in the butt. You know, I don't want to.
Terrible.
I don't want to like, you know, toot my own horn too much, but you know, I do remember initial arguments over like, you know, doing the first 6 chapter or like doing the prologue versus starting for the Branch of Fate. You know, one of the arguments was like, oh, well, there's just an obvious solution to the first like such and such many chapters anyway, and then you cut to chapter 2 where everybody's doing something completely different. Like,
yeah, right.
Absolutely, the game was definitely.
Yeah, it turns out there was not agreement.
It's only like true for chapter prologue and I guess chapter 1. We're all kind of doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, the prologue. We're really over time, so there's one more thing I would like to show off before I forget.
Okay.
Which is one of Raisins' practice streams. We talked about the Camilla routing a little bit over the course of the playthrough, and this is one that didn't come to fruition in the race because you didn't pick Camilla. I assume because you said you were more comfortable with Sakura, but this is one chapter that I really wish we'd had shown off, so I'm going to show it off here. Feel free to commentate over it.
Oh yeah, for sure. The real reason I wasn't picking Camilla was because Jacob already got picked, and there was a very small list of people that I considered like acceptable carries until Camilla joined in chapter 13. And Jacob was far and away the best one, and I didn't really have much experience with the others, and I could pick with the unit with whom I had the PB. So I don't really. Is the thing up, by the way?
Oh, sorry, I'm not screen sharing it. I'm
share?
stupid. Let me rewind it real quick for you, because it was going by quite fast, but I forgot. I need to screen share the right place.
Yeah, like to the Discord. I think we have the other draft open.
You do.
So.
This is it.
There we are. Yeah, perfect.
Chapter 21. It's a chapter we didn't show off in this one because its objective is very straightforward. It's just to kill boss in the bottom right corner through a bunch of corridors. It kind of looks like a GBA map in that way.
Oh well, actually, there is some variance with this chapter. Actually,
there's a lot of it.
Really?
There's a lot of different things you can do. I want to show off one.
Okay.
Like the one
variance, like with a CE, like there's randomness to it.
No. Variance in the sense that like variance in like TS and how you can go through it.
Oh yeah.
Because when I do this chapter, I could pick up the boots in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went through there, but I didn't pick up the boots. I just identified that was the fastest way through, like period. Anyway.
Cool.
Well, not with Camilla.
Yeah, now with Camilla. Yeah, for Camilla, there's a faster one here.
Yeah.
So one of the
lunge, right?
Yeah, one of the advantages to Camilla carry was that she is higher level than the other ones, and so she earns stuff faster and also like hits level cap faster to get rid of the XP bar. And then also, yes, has the lunge. So she kind of gets into this chapter with this like inventory full of like super goated weapons that you see right here. And this is basically what she's using to Gale Force through every single chapter in this arc, basically, like 21 through 24 is what she's using here. And she gets to, I believe, this turn right here, which is coming up. So there's like a whole bunch of Silverbow guys down here, but because there is a Master Ninja, the Master Ninja moves first. And we use the Hand Axe to intentionally not kill. Very important. We want to not kill the Ninja. And the Hand Axe can't crit and can't double, so we don't kill. And then on the next turn, we click and well, you'll see it. Get through there. Whenever it's time to go. And Azura is just like hiding back here with Corrin. Yeah, we click and we lunge through the wall and we proc the Gale Force, and then that just is enough to kill the boss with the Silver Axe.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, and in this case, I think this Camilla was like slightly cringe on strength, so that's why we have the Silver Axe as opposed to just using the steel or whatever. It turns out the Silver Axe is a good weapon in Fates, I'm telling you guys, but you know, that's what it is. And the next few chapters are very similar. We just kind of like, I think in many of these chapters, Mecha, your team would like bring 2 flyers and you would kill and use the other flyer to seize, and we just have Gale Force on Camilla, so that's what we're doing here.
Yeah. We did find the lunge in the previous chapter, but I would just slowly walk Dreadfire Camilla there, unequip, and then lunge with when killing the guy, which is obviously much slower. And no Gale Force.
That makes sense, yeah. You have like less move, so and I think you like fight some like that room with 4 guys along the way, right?
Yeah, you do, because we didn't Gale Force past it.
Yeah, and so that's like kind of the advantage of Camilla, besides like just getting rid of EXP bar sooner, is that she is able to like Gale Force through all these maps. That ends up being a lot more quick. This was before I figured out what I should be getting rid of, but whatever.
It's fine.
That was before I really routed that in, so. But that's the idea.
Yep. Very cool. Let me just show. Let's do one last Gale Force to send us off.
Oh yeah, sure.
Hit the dual club. It's really cool when you can hit benchmarks without even having a pair up equipped. Nice, so clean.
It does mean there's a lot more shopping and forging, but you know, so be it.
Yeah. I do wonder in the end if you like combined all the strategies that we all collectively thought of, what kind of times you can do. I think you were speculating earlier that you could have gotten like sub 110 eventually.
Yeah, probably under 105 for sure. Probably, I think as well. I mean, it kind of depends, because I think like very much of it is dependent on like, you know, do you forge or do you not forge? And those things are like, that's such a big picture concept that it's not immediately clear to me whether one is faster than the other, right? Like, you kind of have to do a very large amount of addition and subtraction over the course of the entire run, I think, to figure that one out.
Yeah. And I think our teams also had like pretty different input speeds. I think you guys had overall the fastest, and so it might be different for you than for me, whether it is better to have more inputs, less enemy movement, or vice versa.
Oh, true, yeah. That was one thing I determined very early on in this chapter. Is like, wait a minute, I think the input speed is like really important. Like, you're kind of always clicking something in Fates, it feels like. So
yeah, and that
was something I like actually practiced very intently.
Yeah, and I will say, for what I've seen from Meister and Spam and Josh, your input speeds were also like insanely fast, really hard to keep up with.
I mean, it's the name of the game for this one.
Sure is. Like, I cannot make a better analogy than Raisins saying like, yeah, playing Shadow Dragon is like playing on ice skates. It's very fast, but you can also slip very easily if you make the wrong move.
I like that one, and not because I came up with it. It's just, I don't know, it just feels right, you know.
It's okay. That's all right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for today. Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed the analysis, and Josh and Raisins, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
All right. See you all next time. Bye.
See you next time.